An EV that never needs to charge. 2 weeks ago, the claim seemed too outrageous to believe. An electric car that could drive forever, powered only by itself. No solar panels, no plug-ins, no tricks, just endless motion. We set out to find the truth. This is not a simulation. This is not a theory. This is the real-world test of Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered electric vehicle. What you're about to witness could change everything. We chose to push the car across terrain it was never designed for. From the chaotic city streets to desolate deserts, then over mountainous roads. There would be no stops to charge, no cables, no excuses. If the battery dipped, the claim would die with it. But what if it didn't? This vehicle claims to be powered by internal Maxwell's CarF energy conversion using ambient frequencies and magnetic harvesting. It supposedly keeps its own systems powered. We've heard these claims before, usually from fringe inventors and science fiction forums. But this one comes from a man who's built functioning self-powered prototypes before. Maxwell Chikumbutso, the controversial Zimbabwean inventor, has done what many call impossible, and now his creation is in our hands. We brought in independent observers. We installed GPS tracking and onboard diagnostics with full data logs. Our test would cover over 1,000 kilometers if the car could last that long. Day and night, rain or shine. First, let's go back. Electric vehicles have come a long way, but the one enemy they haven't beaten is charging. Battery anxiety is real. Charging infrastructure, even in Maxwell's Tech the West, is unreliable. And in developing countries, it's practically non-existent, which is why Maxwell's technology could be revolutionary. Heck claims to bypass the need for external energy entirely. A self-looping power system, energy is drawn in through antennas converted by internal magnetic coils and fed back into the vehicle systems. He says it produces more than it consumes. Some call it perpetual motion. Others call it a fraud. We were determined to find out. Our journey began in the heart of the city. Heavy traffic, frequent stops, a nightmare for EVs. We loaded the car with 4 people and additional camera equipment. Acid test second identical EV without Maxwell's tech followed behind for comparison. The test was live-reamed to eliminate editing accusations. As we rolled through the first hour, something strange happened. The battery indicator didn't move. Normally, any EV would show a drop after just a few kilometers in city traffic, but this one stayed steady. 20 kilometers no loss. 30 kilometers still no drop. Skeptics suggested it was rigged. We paused for a system check. External audit team verified the battery had not been externally charged. We moved on to Phase 2, the highway. High-speed driving burns more energy. This would be their test. We hit the freeway and set freeway test cruise control to 110 km/h. 4 hours passed, still driving, still no drop in battery. The control EV had toss-stop to recharge. We kept going. At 400 km, disbelief set in. How was this possible? No vehicle can drive 400 km without some battery loss. We ran full AC, used the infotainment systems, charged our phones from the port. Still nothing. The car glided forward like it had just been unplugged. We pulled over for diagnostics. Battery level 99%, thermal levels stable. Power draw average? Power regeneration off the charts. The system was generating energy faster than it was consuming it. We were stunned. Even the observers began asking Mountain Test how this could be. It was time to escalate. We left the freeway and entered mountain roads. The inclines were steep. We wanted to see if torque demand would strain the system. The car did not falter, no overheating, no stuttering, no drops. We engaged sport mode. Still no drop. It was like Thief Heikel was mocking physics. As night fell, we ran every possible load. Full lights, heated seats, navigation. Still the battery read 99%. We decided not to stop. We rotated drivers. We stocked the car with food and water. This was now the 24-hour drive, a continuous loop to see just how long it would go. At 3:00 a.m., the camera crew was exhausted. That car was not. By 5 a.m., the sun rose on a vehicle that had now been running for over 20 hours. No charging, no drop, not even a flicker. The control vehicle had long since retired. Multiple charge stops, tire wear, range warnings, not ours. We had now covered over 900 kilometers, still climbing. The observers were now believers. The energy graphs showed something unheard of. Positive recharge patterns. The car wasn't just conserving energy. It was somehow producing more. We lifted the hood. Coils were warm but not hot. A subtle hum could be heard. The RF receiver panel glowed faintly. Diagnostics showed energy looping from antennas to magnetic converters to battery input. Every independent reading power core matched. No foul play, no cables, no switches, no tricks. And yet the car kept moving. We opened up the interior compartment. A series of copper coils, graphene layers, and magnet-based turbines formed the power core. The observers began calling it the heartbeat of the car. We'd now gone over 1,000 kilometers in a standard EV. This is unthinkable without multiple charges. Yet we hadn't stopped once. Then we decided to do something crazy. We looped back toward the city, past deserts, through stormy conditions. Temperature fluctuations didn't affect performance. The tires wore. The passengers tired, but the no-charge battery did not. Still 99%. We passed through towns. Crowds formed. A vehicle with no exhaust, no noise, no charger, still driving. We showed the odometer a 300-kilometer leaf stream still on. Still no charging. The final stretch brought us full circle, back to the city, back to where it began. And yet the car rolled in like it was just starting. We parked, battery read 99%, no decline. Our host turned to camera. Have we just seen the end of the charging era? Is this the birth of a new kind of mobility? A revolution hiding in plain sight? Maxwell's tech might just be the real deal. But what comes next? The journey wasn't over. In fact, it was just beginning. After over 300 kilometers of non-stop driving without a single recharge, the question wasn't just how, but why. Why was this car defying everything we thought we knew about energy? The world was watching now. The footage had gone viral. Engineers, scientists, and skeptics were poring over the data, but the car just kept moving. So we decided to go further. No loops. This time, no loops, no city return, just a full-blown expedition into known terrain. We plotted a new course, a 2,000-kilometer trip into harsh environments, wetlands, salt flats, and freezing highlands. We needed to find the breaking point, if it existed. And to make things even harder, we brought along a forensic audit team. Their job debunked the miracle. Their tools, energy analyzers, signal spectrum readers, thermal imagers, and radio frequency disruptors. We began leg 2 in the heat of the day. Scorching temperatures over 40 degrees C, no shade, every system in the car was under stress. Sea blasting, dust clogging intakes, tires softening under the heat. Yet the car rolled on. We took infrared scans of the internal components. Nothing overheated. The coils operated within expected temperatures. The electromagnetic converters emitted consistent patterns. We deployed an RF disruptor to see if the ambient harvesting would be affected. Slight dips in recharge rate, but still the battery never dropped below 98%. The auditors were baffled. One asked if the car had hidden supersalt flats capacitors. We disassembled panels. Nothing hidden. Everything was accounted for. We pressed on into salt flats now. Bright light reflective surface, perfect for battery strain. No issue. The driver reported zero lag. Steering was tight. Regenerative braking worked in reverse, feeding even more power back into the system. Then we climbed. Highlands at over $3,000 altitude affects engine power. But this wasn't an engine. It was a magnet-driven symphony. Upward way drove colder temperatures, thinner air, and yet the internal coils adjusted frequency to maintain efficiency. We observed it in real time. The system adapted on its own. By day 3, we had passed 2,100 kcal, battery 99%, and then something strange happened. The control vehicle brought back with newly charged batteries broke down. Overheated inverter, failed battery cell. Meanwhile, Maxwell's car just drove past it silently. The forensic team called for a stop. They wanted a complete teardown. We agreed. With the car parked in a neutral site, we began a full tear-down breakdown. Each component cataloged, no missing parts, no fuel cells, no backup batteries, just the same configuration we started with. Copper coils, RF receiver plates, graphene-layered converters, all powered by surrounding electromagnetic fields. The team ran energy balance sheets. Energy in equals greater than energy out. Anomaly after anomaly. One auditor called it the most advanced energy trickery he'd ever seen, then paused, admitting, "If it is trickery, we ran independent tests, disconnected all systems, rebooted from zero." Still, the recharge pattern resumed instantly. The car wanted to drive, so we let it. Next came the ultimate challenge, extreme weather. We drove into a scheduled rainstorm, flooded streets, slick terrain. In any EV, the risk of shorting is high. Maxwell's car cruised through like a boat with tires. No arcing, no system alerts. The water-resistant casing around the magnetic converters proved flawless. At night, lightning storms framed Thesky. Radio frequencies went wild. Our trackers had to switch bands, but the Forever Runner vehicle remained stable. It was as if the car thrived on the chaos. We arrived in a village that had never seen a self-powered vehicle. Crowds gathered. They followed us. Children pointed at the glowing RF panel. We let them touch the car. No heat, no shock, just awe. The car now had a new nickname, the Forever Runner. We let the local chief ride inside. He asked where the fuel was. We said everywhere. As dawn rose again, we passed the 3,000-kilometer mark. Battery still 99%. Footage from 50 hours of continuous driving was reviewed live. No edits, no breaks, nothing suspicious. Energy monitors continued displaying positive loop behavior. The world's biggest autoblogs began requesting interviews. We declined. This wasn't about headlines. It was about proof. And the proof was overwhelming. We went one step further. We stopped the car on an open highway, disconnected every wire, shut down the energy system, waited 12 hours, then reconnected. The battery jumped from 98% back to 99%. It had recharged while idle. No motion, just frequency harvesting. We added external Faraday shielding to block electromagnetic waves. This time, the recharge slowed significantly. When we removed the shield, the system bounced back. Now even the skeptics were stunned. We called in a government lab. They brought spectrum analysis tools. Every reading showed lawful electromagnetic harvesting within FCC range. No illegal broadcasting, no interference with other vehicles, just smart harvesting of what's already in the air. They signed the Tesla moment of our century off. The car was declared safe. One researcher called it the Tesla moment of our century. We ended our journey by driving to the coast, waves crashing beside us. The odometer now read 4,022 kilometers. Battery 99%. No cable had touched the car in over 5 days. We turned off the engine. The silence was spiritual. We looked at each other. There were no more questions, only wonder and aerialization. The age of charging might be over. Maxwell's self-powered EV had crossed continents, conquered weather, and silenced skeptics. No tricks, just technology, beautiful, controversial, and undeniable. We asked Maxwell one final question. What's next? He smiled and said, a sky without fuel. The road has ended, but the journey of energy freedom has just begun. And this time there may be no going back. The world didn't just watch. It responded. Within 48 hours of publishing the final video, our inbox flooded. Top automakers reached out anonymously. Universities demanded data. Skeptics turned believers, offered support, and major energy companies. Silence. The silence spoke louder than outrage. This was not just a test anymore. It was a moment of reckoning. We decided to go public with the full data sets, gigabytes of route, telemetry, battery analytics, engine heat maps, RF spectrum logs, every reading, time-stamped and verified. We uploaded everything to a blockchain-verified archive. There would be no way to alter the truth now. Then the debates began. Online forums exploded. Was this real perpetual motion or simply the challenge ultra-efficient harvesting mechanism? Experts took sides. Some physicists dismissed it outright. Others said, you're not breaking physics. You're just playing smarter. We hosted a live-streamed panel with 3 renowned professors. They reviewed the footage and data live. One of them paused after seeing the idle battery rise. If this is accurate, he said, we are witnessing the future. Then came the challenge. An international EV alliance offered $10 million to Maxwell if the car could be tested in their lab. He declined. Instead, he offered something bigger. He invited all of them to Zimbabwe, see where it was built. So we went. We documented every step of that journey. The facility wasn't what we expected. It wasn't a giant factory. It was humble, a dusty garage surrounded by local farmers. But inside, genius hand-wound copper coils, workbenches covered in magnetic charts, white bars with equations scribbled in permanent marker. Maxwell showed us the original prototype. It looked like a box of tangled wires, but when he connected it to a fan, it spun. No cord, no battery, just RF harvesting. He laughed. This was my first proof. His team consisted of just 8 engineers, all local, all self-taught. One of them showed us how they calibrated coils using tuning forks. Primitive tools, elegant results. They had even built a miniature grid powering nearby homes, lights, fans, phone chargers, all running on the same principle. Energy pulled from the air. We interviewed a local elder. She said her electricity bill went to 0. She smiled. I don't know how it works, but my grandchildren can study at night. The story changed. That's when the story changed. This wasn't just about a car anymore. It was about people, empowerment, decentralized energy. Maxwell walked us through a field where he planned to scale production. A blueprint on a clipboard showed modular units, small RF power cells that could power a village. Each unit would be the size of a microwave. Plug it in, connect nothing else, and power flows. We asked why he hadn't sold the tech to big corporations. He looked us in the eye because they'd lock it up. He believed power should be free, or at least free from control. He called his movement the Energy Liberation Initiative, and the car that was just the flagship, the proof that the impossible had already arrived. We met a local school using one of his generators. It ran lights, projectors, and fans. No electricity bills. The headmaster showed us a chart. Attendance had improved since the tech was installed. The kids aren't afraid of the dark anymore. As we walked out, Maxwell stopped. He pointed to the sky. Next, we flee. We asked if he meant drones. He shook his head. People. He opened asterage container. Inside a 2-seat prototype aircraft, similar RF coils wrapped its belly. He claimed it had already made 4 short flights. All self-powered. Footage played on Atablet. Liftoff. No propeller noise, just soft whirring. The aircraft rose, hovered, and returned. He hadn't shown it to the world yet. They're not ready, he said. We realized something then. Maxwell wasn't chasing investors. He was chasing time. Time to build, to protect, to decentralize. Because once this tech spread, it couldn't be stopped. We left the Maxwell moment the garage with more footage than we could process. But the moment we uploaded it, the internet broke again. Millions of views in hours. Mainstream media tried to play catch-up. Tech magazines rushed out think pieces. The term Maxwell moment began trending. It meant the moment you saw the impossible and couldn't unsee it. A week later, we turned to the original test vehicle. It had been parked in a sealed garage. No movement, no touch. We opened it, battery 99%. Still, we asked if we could run one more loop. Maxwell nodded. So we did. A final 1,000-kilometer loop filmed in real time. No edits, no music, just the car, just the road, just the truth. We closed the video with a simple question. Now, do you believe it? And the comment section lit up. Some still doubted. Some called it staged, but more and more people asked one thing. Where can we get on? Maxwell's answer. Soon, but not through dealerships, through cooperatives, communities, networks that own their own power. Not just users, participants. He wasn't just changing cars. He was changing capitalism. We don't know what the next few years will bring. We don't know how the energy giants will respond. But we do know this. We drove an EV that never stopped. We saw homes powered by the air. We met children whose futures were lit without a bill. And we flew in silence. The world is different now. The question is, will it accept the change or will it fight to bury it? The car is still in the garage. Battery 99%, still waiting, still ready. So are we.